So this is Trading with the Pros, and what we're going to be doing here is what I refer to as Stage 5 trading. And Stage 5 is quite different than what a lot of you might be used to. That being the case, understand that the examples and the answers to questions that might be presented here might be completely different, and they might be in complete opposition to what I might say or do if I was talking to somebody in the options trading for income webinar, for example, because here we're building a different skill set. So, think of it like this, for example. If I was learning to play basketball, then a coach might show me the proper way to do a bunch of different individual techniques, right? He might say, if you want to get a ball in the basket, you stand at this line, you put your feet this way, you aim for the basket, and you throw the ball exactly like this. And he's going to show me a bunch of different things like that, and he's going to try and be developing certain skills within me, right? But at some point, when I'm playing the game at a higher level, I might go out there and I might do exactly what he says. I might go to the line and aim for the basket. I might plant my feet and I might throw the ball the exact right way, but it's not going to work a lot of the time because there's going to be somebody in the way blocking me, right? I might not be able to get up to the line. There's going to be 4 players in front of me trying to block the basket. So I'm doing what he told me to do, and it's the right technique, but it's not working when we're actually playing live. Well, that's because, I'm playing at a different level now, and the skills that I developed, I definitely needed to develop those skills, right? I needed to develop my aiming capability and my throwing capabilities, and I need to develop those so that when I'm flying through the air sideways, I can get the ball in the basket, right? So it's not to say that I'm going to do it this way when I'm live. It just says that these are the skills that I'm developing. And, it was the same thing when I used to train fighters, right? I teach people, I come in, I teach people who want to be fighters, I teach them the skills that they need to develop, and we practice them over and over and over again until they develop the muscles and the speed and the precision to hit powerfully and accurately. And, I can remember a time when I had a student and he was really good. He mastered all these basic techniques. He had an incredibly powerful, incredibly accurate side kick, and it was really textbook perfect. And he wanted to get into a fight. So we had this really big event going on in Washington, D.C., national fight. So we booked him for the fight for his, first real full contact fight. So I'm his coach, and he's in his first real fight, and by the end of the first round, he's getting his ass kicked. He's getting the crap beat out of him. And, I'm looking at what's going on, and I see the person he's fighting is a pretty experienced fighter, and every time, my guy, he goes to throw the side kick his opponent, he blocks it, he basically hip checks him, and then he proceeds to punch him in the head. So this is what's happening, right? The fighter is in there, and he's trying to do this textbook perfect side kick where you come in and you turn your body and you cock your leg up and then you throw the kick out. And what the other guy's doing is he sees it coming like a mile away, and he just taps him in the hip and he slams him in the head. And this happens over and over again through the first round. So my fighter comes back from the first round, and I said, look, you've worked really hard. You've developed the speed that you need. You've developed the accuracy and the power to get that kick in. And you're capable of doing some really serious damage there. Your body knows how to hit its target, and it knows how to hit it effectively. Now it's time to forget about doing the side kick properly. And when you see an opening, just pick your foot up off the floor, wherever it is, and drive it directly through the target. And I can tell you, probably about 20 seconds into the second round, he picked his foot up and he drove it right through the guy's rib cage, and hit him so hard that it was the end of the fight. So, my point being, I would never tell that student to forget about doing the kick properly, right? Because if I did that, there's a good chance he would never develop the power and the accuracy that he needs to use that skill effectively. Even though later on in the real fighting, he's going to be expected to do things differently. So in trading, we have the same scenario, right? We put in these stages, and in stages 1 through 4, we're developing all these techniques, and we're doing them in a certain way where our purpose behind that is for the purpose of understanding and for building skills. And we're doing that so that we can have a really nice base that we can work off of. So we want to build our skills, and we want to kind of let go of the results for now. And then once we reach this area of around stage 4.5, when we have all our skills developed, or we get deep into stage 4, we want to start experimenting and bringing in what we're talking about here. So in stage 5, we're going to do things like, we're going to start with maybe one set of trade guidelines. But then we're going to break the guidelines, right? Something we'd never do, I would never tell a stage 3 student to do, right? But in stage 5, we're going to do that. We're going to start a trade, we're going to break the guidelines, and we're going to shift to something else. Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment to build on this
Please.
arc that you're developing here, which I think is very important, especially with trading. As it is with any endeavor that we take on, the first thing that we focus on is the outcome. What's the result we want? And I think what you're trying to really emphasize here, and I think you're doing a good job of it, especially this new outline of how we're doing the business and presenting the education, is to not focus on outcomes in the first few stages and focus on process. You know, we've kind of had that theme in the past, and I think it's important to constantly emphasize that, because this is a totally outcome-driven business. You know, how much did you make? Did you win? Did you lose? And it's very difficult for people to start out in the beginning to set that aside and focus on process, focus on the fundamentals, the building blocks, the very basic trades like the bull, and then getting consistent with the 3 C's, and kind of set aside outcomes until we reach the latter stages. So I just wanted to try to emphasize, we want everybody to focus on the process and the building blocks, so that when you get to the stages when you can focus on outcomes, it'll be much, much easier.
It will be, right? And as an example, you know, if you wanted to be like a pro basketball player, as we were saying before, you know, you wouldn't go in and learn all the basic skills and then go into a professional game and expect to win.
Yeah.
Yet you still have to build the skills if you ever expect to win in the future.
Right.
So in other words, you're doing the right things, you're just not seeing the results yet.
Right, and you want to measure your results by other metrics other than dollars. You know, did I follow my plan? Did I create a plan and did I execute it? Those are your key metrics. Dollar results is probably not even on the metric page yet.
It really shouldn't be yet. You know, we know a lot of traders come into the business solely for that. So, and again, those are the people who have a problem a lot of times. But anyway, no, great conversation there. That's super. You know, the point saying though, you know, when we talk about things here, I just want you to understand that, you know, they may be appropriate for somebody trading at level 5, but they're completely inappropriate for somebody who's learning, or say a stage 3 person. And, you know, we do this because we want to completely understand what's going on and then utilize the best tool for the job when we are at a more advanced level, rather than just sitting there and hoping something works.